look now?
It's great. I've always loved Patrick. It's just always been tough competing against him, but that's why he is who he is. I think he's going to be a lovely addition to our ball club and a great tone setter, along with everyone else that we have already in terms of how we want to play and getting back to where we need to get back to. You hear him mentioning the grit, the grind, just being a dog out there, just having him in the fold with guys like Russ, Brian, AD. I mean, it's the new guys we've picked up and signed in free agency. I think it's going to be one hell of a year. So I'm looking forward to him setting a real nice tone, especially on the defensive side of the ball, which we really need to get better at, and that's going to take us where we need to go.
Devin, there's like the basketball stuff, and in terms of we talking about like strategy and the shots he's going to make, but just what about from like an attitude standpoint? Do you think he brings to a locker room?
I think his competitiveness, and the three words we're going to hang our hats on, man, is competitiveness, togetherness, and accountability. And you heard him mention all of that in various ways. His tone, he cares about his teammates. He lives and breathes team. He's a hell of an individual and team defender. But his goal is not really hasn't been accolades. It's been his impact on winning basketball. And time and time again, whether it was Houston, whether it was the Clippers, whether it was Minnesota, he's made his presence felt in a major way. And we look forward to him continuing to do that here.
You mentioned togetherness. Obviously, him and Russ have that history. Russ is here today. How are you encouraged by kind of where their relationship is at right now? And how do you see them working together?
I see them working together fabulously, man. It's their games complement one another. I wouldn't want to be in the backcourt and have to deal with these two guys. So just it's going to be a lovely experience. I'm looking forward to it. I'm thrilled to see them out there together and see them compete every day, against one another in the right way in practice. And those competitive juices rising to a level where it can transfer over to the game floor and, again, get stops and just have an identity of toughness and hard work. And, again, we know what's out there. We know every team starts the season, with those high hopes. But the biggest thing, my biggest hope is that we really enjoy the process and enjoy the journey, because I think the daily process is going to lead to our progress. What we do every day, day in and day out, that's going to take us where we need to go.
How much can like one veteran, one guy like Pat Bev, how much of a difference can he make in a team like this with so many other veterans?
I think he's going to fall right in, man. He's a guy that prides himself on doing the dirty work, taking those charges, going in there for tough offensive rebounds. I mean, Russ is going to do the same thing. Brian is going to do the same thing. AD, everybody, Austin Reeves. I'm super duper excited, man, about what we're going to be able to roll out and present to the city and to the league as a whole from our program standpoint. But I think he's going to, he connects. He's fearless. He's going to be able to say what needs to be said in the right way to our big dogs as well as our younger players. So, and we're in acquiring him, that's one of the biggest things that stood out about him. And, he stands for the right things. He's not selfishly motivated. He's all about winning and all about the right things, and he practices that on a daily.
Is that something that like teams that are going up against him recognize and appreciate about him as much as they hate going against Pat over there?
Absolutely.
Do you guys?
Oh yeah, definitely. We used to talk about it in our coaches' meetings all the time. Oh yeah, it don't matter. I mean, he can get inside your head. He can get in your chest defensively. I mean, things he does offensively, setting screens. Knocking down threes. He shot in the mid-30s last year, but those previous 4 years, he's up around 40% every year. So, and we expect him to get back to that, and especially playing with a guy like Russ, that's going to draw the attention of multiple defenders, playing with Brian, who does the same, AD does the same. So these guys are going to get their fair share of opportunities. They just got to be ready to connect, and again, that's where the daily process comes in, putting that work in.
Ed, obviously you don't have to make a decision today, but do you see him and Russ as a starting backcourt? Do they fit together in that way?
If they play defense. And we got a while, that's still a ways off, but definitely. I mean, and people get caught up in the starting lineups a lot, but you look at who's finishing games, and those starters, they're out there to set that tone for our entire team throughout the game. But that's still far long ways off. But I'm not scared of that. You know, I'm not, that's definitely a bullet in the chamber. So we looking forward to it, man. Those guys in the backcourt together, man, it's just like, but again, you know, I just watched Kendrick Nunn have a great workout, has been having great workouts since last month. Austin Reeves, I mean, we got a lot of options at that position. Lonnie Walker, who we picked up from San Antonio, like, LA, all Laker fans should be excited, man. I think we're gonna have a young, fast, hungry ball club along with these savvy veterans who's also still playing at a very high level. So it's gonna be fun to compete for those jobs.
How's Kendrick looked? I mean, we haven't seen him.
He's looked great.
Is he out there doing full contact stuff yet? Or?
He's out there just doing individual workouts, and he's going crazy in the weight room. We've had some individual and combo workouts where he looks great. He's looked great, and it's like, man, a breath of fresh air from him as well. So we're gonna have a good damn team.
How do you think Russ and Pat will feed off each other?
They gonna feed off each other great. I just, again, that opposing backcourt or whoever's out there with them competing against them, like, they're gonna have a hard time, man. Those dudes, there's no quitting either one of them. They're tough. Again, they play the right way. They stand for the right things, and I'm thrilled. It's gonna be fun to watch. I got the best seat in the house.
Hey, Darvin, you mentioned the kind of intangibles that Beverley brings, especially defensively.
Yep.
Do you like him as kind of that point of attack type defender, or because he can also scale up and guard some bigger players? Does he give you some different options to use?
Man, it's very versatile. It's just like Russ being able to guard smaller players, and I watched Russ last year guard. Was it last year before last, guard Giannis? So, and it shocked the hell out of me, and I just know with that spectrum of guys and those different attributes on that side of the ball that they bring, from Bron to AD being able to switch off on smaller players and move his feet, like, we're going to have a very extremely dynamic defensive squad.
And then along the lines of the intangibles with you in your first year, does the way that Beverley kind of just by nature holds people accountable on the court in the film room, does that ease something off you, or does that what you do?
We're all preaching the same message. Yeah. So and you know, I'm not backing down from making any tough decisions or bringing anybody together. And what needs to be done is going to be done. What needs to be said is going to be said. Being part of two championship situations myself, one as a player, one as a coach, you know, back to the 04 Pistons to the 21 Bucks, like those were the ingredients of making history. You know, having those types of players who's coming in every single day and putting their hard hat on and laying it on the line for their teammates, whether it's practice, shoot around, game film, like guys being on the same page and working towards that constantly.
As you look at your roster right now, in your mind, is it more or less set, or do you feel you guys still have some moves to make this?
Well, you got to talk to Rob about that, man. I tell you what, I'm happy with what we have. Absolutely.
Darvin, you guys traded a couple wings for Pat, obviously kind of changing the makeup of the roster. How does that affect the rotation, and is there potential maybe more three-guard lineups, or how are you kind of viewing the current roster right now?
We'll see, man. Like I said, we feel comfortable about what we've assembled, and once we get the plan and once we get to going 5-on-5, going up and down, different guys are going to separate themselves. And again, it starts with the defensive end. It's not much use, if we don't guard anybody. I mean, we got 3 first ballot Hall of Famers and a bunch of other guys around them that can score. So offense, we just got to be organized and be disciplined in how we space and how we run and where we give these guys the ball. So that won't be as big of a hurdle. Defensively, it's something you can get right just about every night. And that's where we need to place our hard hats. And once we get our group workouts going, once we get guys going up and down those practices and those scrimmages, that's where guys will earn their minutes.
This is kind of a weird question because he's sitting right here, but Russ was in Vegas on your bench. He was at your press conference. He's here today. What's his buy-in been with you, and what have you seen from him kind of amidst a little bit of a tumultuous Sunday?
I mean, everything's been clear and up front between he and I, and like, he's been a pleasure. I've been a huge fan throughout his time in the league. He's the salt of the earth. And again, he wants to win. He wants to win. I want to help him get that championship ring. And but it starts here. It starts today. It starts with the buy-in. It starts with supporting your teammate, supporting the vision, and doing that and working your butt off day in and day out. And everyone's quick to look at the destination, but you really have to appreciate the journey and respect and embrace the journey. So he's been that since day one. I mean, he's been that since day one. Anytime I call him or I need him, text messages, the communication has been great both ways, and he's in here. You know what I'm saying? He's in here putting in the work. So I love him, and I can't wait to coach him, and I can't wait to succeed with him.
You know, a lot of fans, obviously, you know, they see Pat and wrestling the same backcourt, and it kind of blows their mind a little bit. But why did you guys believe that it would work, that Russ would be cool with it?
Because they're both highly competitive, great human beings who care and want to win. You know what I mean? That's who are dead serious about their communications, not backing down from anything. And give me 20 of those, however many, 17 of those guys in my locker room like that. And we prepare the right way. I guarantee you there'll be great results on the back end of it.